The reason I wanted Pat to speak here, and I don't know what the subject and how you intend to handle it, but one day in this meeting, I made mention of the American Legion, and nobody in this group knew what the American Legion does. They didn't know what we do on a local level, a state level, or a federal level. And I thought how nice it would be if you can open our eyes, because some of the people in this group are very charitable, and they might help us out down the road. Others are very tight, like me, and you're never going to get a dime out of us, but don't try. But anyway, Pat, come on up.
Okay.
Nice to have you, buddy.
You bet. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for sharing your time with me.
Can you speak up, Pat?
You bet. Thank you, Jim, for sharing your time with me this
You're
evening.
welcome.
Larry, did you get that? All right. Since you're around the room, I'll just kind of walk around the room and speak loudly. So if you can't hear me or you want me to repeat, please raise your hand. How many vets in here? Not even 20%. Thank you for your service. All of you, thank you for your service. This organization, the American Legion, was chartered by Congress in 1919 after World War I. A bunch of war-weary soldiers over in Europe, in France, decided we need a group to represent us because we are a very large group now since the World War, and they had no representation with our U.S. government. So they got with Congress. Congress chartered the organization. It is now the largest veteran organization in the United States. 1.6 million members in every state, the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, the Philippines, France, and one other place. I'm trying to think where it is. They're in 55 departments. Each department, all 50 states, the other 5 places, the Philippines, did I say the Philippines? So Philippines, France, DC, Puerto Rico, all 50 states. Seems like I'm missing one. Why are we here? What is the purpose of the American Legion? From the national perspective, it is a large group of people that can influence Congress. So membership makes the difference. If you're a member, your vote counts for your legislators. Anyone in Congress, senators, representatives, recognize who we are and what our population does. If you think about 1.6 million, that is more people than are serving in our active and reserve forces right now. That's how small the United States military has become. 6 branches, this is 6. 6 branches, Coast Guard is considered a military branch. Now we've got Space Force, and then the big 4, Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force. So think about that from the perspective that 1.6 million of us that are veterans represent more than the people that are serving us right now in the military.
Good.
What's the focus? Service to veterans, service members, and their communities. We do a lot here, and I'll get to that here in just a minute. I'll give you just a short story on national. Puerto Rico Day, yeah, Puerto Rico. That's I don't want to miss that. So also what I brought is some literature, and I brought a whole bunch of applications. For those of you that served, all you have to do have served is one day honorably since Pearl Harbor Day. And why do I say that? Traditionally, the American Legion was opened up to warriors, people that served during a time of conflict. And in the last several years, we've had a lot of that. But before that, we had this long period of the Cold War where we really had few conflicts. We had Lebanon, we had Grenada, but we didn't have major conflicts like the Gulf War or like Afghanistan or like Iraq. So in 2019, the President did the Legion Act, which allows any service member that served at least one day honorably, they can join the American Legion. And that has expanded the population of our group, but I do have applications if you would like. So get with me after this. Anyway, so we're always recruiting, but what are some of the things National has done? National emphasis with our legislation created the GI Bill. You usually hear about that if you watch any TV. GI Bill is mentioned quite often. It gives a step up to those that have served, gives them education, medical, a bunch of things to those that serve their country. Recently, part of that service organization is the PAC Act. The PAC Act was voted in, I'm going to say 2023, but that provides extra medical service and benefits to those that are suffering from burn pits, Agent Orange, all these respiratory and horrible illnesses that are creating cancer in all of our service members due to war. Tremendous improvement in benefits. And why is it such an improvement? Because previously people had to go to the doctor, prove their service, tell them exactly what the predicament was, and then get awarded a benefit. These benefits come because you were there. You were in country, you served your country, and now you've got cancer because of that. So it's much easier for the millions, literally millions of veterans to get service, to get medical service. It is apolitical. We don't care what your party is, what your affiliation is. We do pledge our allegiance to God and country. So that's designated. We are religious in that sense. This is our country's flag. That is one of the largest priorities is flag etiquette, respecting that flag. There are two other parts of the American Legion. It's called Sons of the American Legion. Any of you have parents that served, you can be a son of the American Legion. We have the Women's Auxiliary. Women's Auxiliary are those that want to serve in this organization that don't have military service. So let me be clear. The American Legion is open to any veteran, male or female. Sons of the American Legion is open to any relative of anyone that served. So if your father, your grandfather, your grandmother served, you can become a son of the American Legion. They do have, through the auxiliary, they do have organizations for women that were related to previous service. That's not part of our organization. But the Women's Auxiliary is. In fact, this pin right here is from my mother that was in the Women's Auxiliary following World War II. She and my dad served in World War II. And my uncles and several others. But anyway, it's been around a long time. There's 4 pillars to the organization. Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, a primary pillar. That's where most of the emphasis goes. We've kind of discussed that already. National security. We promote the best, most talented, most trained, most equipped military. We use the full weight of our elected representatives and the influence that we can provide to improve our military. That's our second pillar. Americanism. Americanism is kind of a group of in the organization that goes to specific things. So, American Legion Baseball. There's actually a league in the country that does baseball. They're pretty good at it, and there's a national championship. We do not have a team. We are not that big. Boys and Girls Club, Boys and Girls State. Anybody here gone to Boys or Girls State? Fantastic experience for a young high school kid. They learn the civics that most people seem to be missing, but they learn the civics of our country and how it works. We sponsor those kids. We'll sponsor any kid that applies, and they apply through our organization, through our post. Actually, they can apply through Boys State, and Boys State calls us, and then we fund them. Voter registration, that's also part of the Americanism. We promote voter registration. And then children and youth is the 4th pillar. Children and youth programs we integrate with the local schools, the middle school here quite often, elementaries, Wilmot, Marsdale, Bergen. We integrate with those, and I'll tell you some more about that. But we do integrate, and the reasoning is because the Legion has a dedicated statement that every child deserves a square deal. And that's what our emphasis is. Every child deserves, they deserve a meal, they deserve protection, they deserve leadership, they deserve parenting, they deserve a lot of things, and we're one of the organizations that promotes that. National priorities, there are a few. Primary one is grassroots and supporting suicide prevention. The program that the American Legion has, and it's been the program now for the last 2 fiscal years, is called Be the One. Be the One is totally dedicated to suicide prevention and emphasis on prevention and awareness. You see in the news daily, well, not daily, God bless, but you see in the news quite often of military folks, veterans that have come home, they've been abandoned by their local area, their family or whatever, and end up suicide. We're trying to reach out. This is a national organization that tries to reach out. Larry is a big proponent of this program, and he's an expert. I'm going to deem you an expert, but he's very, very intelligent about the whole suicide prevention awareness program. So you're gifted to have him in your group. But it is the number one priority of the national. Legislative influence with Congress. Like I said before, 1.6 million members, 55 departments. Those departments are broken down to districts in each state. We have 14 districts. Each district has posts. I'm commander for Post 2001 Evergreen. So that's how the chain goes down, but it's a top down. Everyone works for the posts. The posts get their information, they get some funding, we get influence, we get educational materials, we get handouts, we get everything from upstream, but it's all volunteers downstream. Very few people in the American Legion are paid. Only the national leadership and some of the state adjutants. A state adjutant is like the administrative head. National affairs and civic responsibility, another emphasis item. Pretty self-explanatory. Flag advocacy, I've already talked about that, and supporting our national ensign. Get out the vote and the youth support programs. So before that, on the national perspective, any questions on national, what the Legion means? So let's talk about Evergreen, Colorado. One of the biggest things that is rewarding from my perspective and my position as commander is we get together monthly for a meeting, weekly for executive committee. And executive committee. And that committee is open to any of the members. So essentially we have 4 meetings a month, every Tuesday. Our biggest meeting, monthly membership meeting, is the 4th Tuesday every month. We meet down at the Church of the Transfiguration at Douglas Hall. We do not have brick and mortar. Most of the posts throughout the nation have brick and mortar. They're infamous for place to hang out, place to get a less expensive beverage, place to eat, place to share your stories, share your camaraderie. Like I said, like I was starting to say, is camaraderie within our post is the biggest priority. Unfortunately, our population is aging. We try to recruit. There's hundreds of veterans in Evergreen. We only have about 105 signed up for our post, and only about 20 is the core group that participate. So that's 20%. About the same as the veterans in this room, 20%. But camaraderie is our emphasis. Support of the veterans and their families, we do that quite often. An example, my friend Larry, he took one of our vets down to the hospital, not once, but twice 2 weeks ago. God bless you. He does it because he's a veteran and he was somebody in need. So that's a example right there. We have several families in town that we've provided food, monetary, household belongings. We have a program through ECHO, Evergreen Christian Outreach, where we give veterans cards, debit cards, $25 debit cards. They can, hopefully they spend it on transportation, but they can spend it on whatever they want. But we'd prefer that they spend it on food. Some of the other programs, material goods, ADA ramp construction, we built those. We conduct buddy checks. What came with COVID, the pandemic, we didn't know because we couldn't meet. So we didn't know who was doing okay. So we divide up, we get all the people's phone numbers, we call and just touch base. How you doing? Are you doing well? Are you alive? Are you kicking? Are you having any problems? What can we do for you? Because again, we're serving each other. We donate time to services in the local community. An example, we bought, assembled, and donated to Wilmot and the Bergen 4 picnic tables. They're all-weather picnic tables. They're set there for the small kids in kindergarten and preschool, so they have a place to hang out when they go outside after recess. Why do we do this? Because they are sons, daughters of veterans. We are a community organization. We promote anyone that is needy. How did we come about that? We had some members that have children that are teachers or administrators. They had a need, we fulfilled it. That's one example. But that's what we did with 2 of the elementaries here. Some ceremonies. How many have been to our Memorial Day ceremony? It's over here in Bergen Park. Fantastic ceremony. I would really encourage you. It's on Memorial Day. It's at 11 o'clock. It's always on Memorial Day, and it's always at 11 o'clock. Why is that? Because we're honoring those that served and those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And 11 o'clock is because on Memorial Day, flag etiquette, the flag is half-mast or half-staff, whichever service you come from, and at noon it goes to full staff. That's flag etiquette 101. And that is the only national flag holiday that we raise it during daylight. And that's again to commemorate those that served and those that paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Can I add something, Pat?
Yes, sir.
The ceremony of which he speaks, there are over 200 people that attend in Bergen Park on that day. And if you were to see the monument that they built, you would not believe it. It is so beautiful and so extensive that every time I take someone over there, they say, I can't believe this was done. And and it's worth the trip just to see the monument, if nothing else. But over 200 people join, and why don't you belong or join us on that
Please
day?
do. It's Memorial Day at 11 o'clock, and it's right over there. And a lot of people, it's very sobering because we do maintenance over there. It's a nice facility. We built it with our funds and donations from perhaps some of you. But it's very sobering when you're sitting there. I'm pulling weeds or mowing, and one of the family members comes there and, excuse me, they come and pray. It just gets me. So obviously I gotta stop what I'm doing and just sit back, and then I'll sit down and observe. But it's so rewarding to see our public take advantage. Sorry for the emotional moment here.
It's the most beautiful monument in Evergreen, without a doubt.
Yeah, it is spectacular.
Thank you, David Robin.
Also in there we have it's called a commemorative walk, and in that commemorative walk there are pavers for any veteran. So we have pavers actually going back to the Civil War. But we have pavers for veterans that served. We have 30 plus KIAs, killed in action. So it's something where you can recognize your family or friends. And the paver application, I have some of those if you're so inclined. But they're a wonderful, memorable thing to put there for your family. And please go visit it if you get a chance. Honor Guard. We have a select Honor Guard. We're all decked out in Honor Guard uniform with shoulder epaulets, all the stuff, this hat. And we provide services for burials. We provide services for memorials. We lead the rodeo parade. We lead the Indian Hills parade, 4th of July. We serve at a lot of funerals for service members. It's an honor. I am part of the Honor Guard, and it is truly an honor when you can do that for a family. We also work heavily with Clear Creek County, and we work with VFW posts, other Legion posts. I mean, it's a collective, but not all of them have honor guards like we do. And that's why we wish that anybody would take advantage of us, but there's only a finite amount of time that we can provide. But we haven't turned anyone down lately because we're all volunteers. We educate veterans groups like yourself on what we do, how we interact with the community. We organize outdoor activities mostly for veterans, their families, their spouses, whoever. It's pretty fun because it's part of that camaraderie thing, but we have picnics, we have Christmas parties, we have all kinds of fun events. And normally it includes food, some adult beverage or others. And it's just a chance to, when you get like people like yourselves in a room, you can share stories. One of the biggest things of camaraderie amongst veterans is sharing stories. They all have a story. Not many people, my parents included, will sit down and tell you a story. You have to pull it from them. Some of the stories are not very pretty, but it's on their chest. PTSD is a real thing. And the more you can get people to get it off their chest, to be familiar with it, it's medicinal to both them and yourself. So if you have friends that have served, ask them about it. Obviously, you don't want to interrogate them. You want to just make sure that they understand that you have a feeling for their service. I mentioned Evergreen Christian Outreach, Habitat for Humanity. We donate to their organization every year. We attend their banquet. Their fundraising banquet is in 2 weeks. It's at the Lake House. It's on the 18th. Evergreen, the schools, Patriots Day, Memorial Day, or Veterans Day, I already mentioned. Middle school has a career day in the spring. It's fun working with those guys. You sit there at a table. They know who we are. These kids don't know much about military. And they have all kinds of fun questions. But it's interaction with our community. And you get some pretty good responses. And you get some of the kids that say, oh, my dad was in the military. My mom served in Iraq. I'm a son or daughter of the Legion. So they put 1 + 1. Oh, that's what that is. So it's an awareness program. The high school, I mentioned Boys State, Girls State, career days, and they have a capstone project at the high schools. Some of the students participate in it. We are asked to grade some of their projects. They present to a group of graders, 3 adults, and then you tell them what they did well, what they didn't do well, how they present themselves, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a great opportunity to get to work with the high schoolers. They also have career days. Career days is an opportunity that we don't take advantage of. It's difficult to get into some of these events because of the politics of Evergreen. I'm sorry, it's the politics of Evergreen. when they see a warrior coming or hear about a warrior coming, it gets a little touchy. So we're able to get into the middle school. They would love us. We can get into certain events at the high school. We can go to the elementary every day if they'd like it, if they'd let us. But they are very receptive. But when it gets with the older students, I'm sorry, it gets a little touchy. So we're working on it. We're working on it because it should be. I mean, military service to your country, it's an honor, a privilege, and it's needed. Cemetery maintenance. If you didn't know, we take care of the military part of of Bear Creek Cemetery. We obviously have our memorial here that we take really good care of. We go to cemeteries in Clear Creek County and help them. So that's again work that we do, contribute to the community. First responder recognition. This year we awarded recognition and a small stipend to the firefighter of the year, the paramedic of the year, the sheriff's deputy of the year. We're so grateful to have those people doing what they do, and we appreciate them. Hopefully you do too. But we give them a really nice frameable write-up, citation, and we give them a few bucks to go out with their family and have some fun. Backpacks for vets. Anybody heard of that?
No.
Anybody in the Rotary here? Backpacks for Vets is an annual thing that Evergreen Rotary does. We help participate. We get the Boy Scouts to participate. We get high school groups to participate. What they do is create 500 of those flexible backpacks, fill them with toiletries, water, all kinds of goodies, and take them downtown. They are distributed to veterans on the street. It's a great deal. Happens every fall. That's pretty much encapsulates the primary things we do. So I'm not here as an ask, I'm here as a inform. If you have questions, I would love to give you an application for those vets that are here. I would love to give anybody a application for a memorial for a paver brick. So I do have some literature for the vets, or for those of you that may be children of a vet or have relatives that are children of a vet. Those are the programs I talked about. Sons of the American Legion. And this is just normal American Legion. And I'm going to leave these with Rich. Questions? Covered a lot of stuff there. Hopefully you heard me. I don't normally talk this loud. Yes, sir.
Well, I just might mention that there's a veteran cemetery down at the Evergreen Cemetery at North Turkey Creek. And every time there's a funeral down there, these gentlemen show up, fire their weapons on a 21-gun salute, and on occasion give the flag to a widow. And it's a very, very beautiful ceremony that they participate in. So for all of you vets, there's Fort Logan that has 125,000. Let me repeat that. 125,000 graves down there. Over here, you can go in at a lot less money, and there's about 8 people there on the local cemetery. So think about being buried there if you're a veteran. And he helped me get this started. Pat did.
Yeah. We actually we tried very hard to create a miniature national cemetery. It didn't quite work. But he's got a reservation, don't you?
Yeah. And the son screwed it up.
So we tried really hard. But it is a nice resting place, and it's local. So for folks that want to put it's also a civilian but this is separate from the civilian place, and it's lined up in arcs. And there's quite a few spots, 188 or something like that. There's quite a few spots. It's up at across the street from Archdale. Any other questions, statements? Yes, sir.
Where's your memorial up here? I'm ignorant to it.
Go to the Frisbee Park over here in Bergen Park, Buchanan Park.
Okay.
That's the best place to park because now they have a parking lot and you just walk on the paved path. The first left takes you to it. You'll see the POW MIA flag, the national flag, and the American Legion flag, all on this beautiful rock pedestal. The commemorative walk is right in front of it. There are several benches, donated benches that you can sit there and contemplate or pray. It's a beautiful facility. And it's brought to you by volunteers. Yes, sir.
Have you got the ability to go into private schools in the area? You can get
That's
the door open?
that's a great question. If they asked, we'd love to.
Okay.
We're open to go anywhere.
Okay.
Part of our dilemma, folks, again, is we're aging out. It seems that all the younger veterans, they have stuff to do. I mean, they've got family, kids. I'm part of the Cold War people. We have a lot of Vietnam people. We have one remaining Korean War veteran, fabulous guy, Master Gunnery Sergeant. That's the senior enlisted that you can be in the United States Marine Corps. He's a wonderful guy.
And we lost George about a year
Yep.
or two ago, who was World War II.
Yep, George was our last remaining World War II vet. Yes, sir.
Pat, maybe you mentioned it earlier and I just don't remember. How many posts are there now for the
There's
American Legion?
12,000 posts in the United States.
And where was the first post at?
That's a good question. They formed in Paris on the 15th to the 17th of November, right after the war. I would suspect that would be the incubus, the first place.
All right.
The Colorado, Department of Colorado, #1 post is down off of, I think it's Evans. But it's down. But each state is called a department. And then each department has districts, and then each district has posts. And so 12,000 posts, 55 departments. And France is, I would suspect, the first. I don't know if it's a brick and mortar, but they are a department of the American Legion. Anything else?
Pat, tell them about the Veterans Affairs program out at and Anschutz.
Part of that advocacy for vets for medical, they have very educated people around the country. They're called VSOs, Veteran Service Officers, or PSOs, Post Service Officers, or you elevate it up to the experts. We have one that actually is an employee of the department. I mean, what department is he in? He's a representative of the Disabled American Veterans, but I think he's actually employed by one of the government agencies. Anyway, this man is an expert at getting veterans their benefits. And the new and improved facility that you see off of Colfax and 225, spectacular facility. It's running quite well. That is the main hospital in Denver, in Colorado, for veterans services. They have smaller areas down in Golden. There's one. They still have Fitzsimmons, which was the original in Denver, but Fitzsimmons now is primarily a home for veterans that are on their deathbed. Yes, sir.
Pat, the first post was George Washington Post #1 in Washington, D.C.,
Oh.
March 7th, 1919, and it finally received its first charter was given then on May 19th, 1919.
There you go. Our post was chartered in 2001. We chose Post 2001 as our name. There's actually another 2001, but we're 2001 Evergreen.
Rob, I thought you were gonna ask a question. I thought I saw your hand up. You gonna ask a question?
I was thinking about it, but I didn't put my hand up.
Go, Terry.
Are
You
you
saw your
having
body
any
motion, man. I picked up
success
on it.
working with the VA? Is that,
Yes, through that, the gentleman that, I'll give you a recap of recent evolution with the guy that works for the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. Hopefully some of you are familiar. It's one of those prime 501s, very little overhead, 100% rating. So this guy works for them. He has a laptop. We had a meeting, it was at our picnic last month. One of our members needed an update on his benefits. He popped his laptop out, pulled up his service record, pulled up his medical record, and was able to discern what benefits that he should be receiving. He did it right there. Those are the people that really can explain, because a lot of our veterans, they ship out of the military, they get their last physical, they have an ailment of some sort, and they don't get looked at, they don't get assessed for benefits. And I think that would be part of the problem. We get people that are having these suicide intentions because they have something wrong. PTSD, like I said, is real. And they have either a significant wound that has not healed, or they have PTSD, or they're paraplegic, quadriplegic. There's a lot of reasons. But if they don't get service-related assistance from the Veterans Administration, remember, I said earlier, we were the proponent, the Legion was one of the proponents that started the Veterans Administration. We started the GI Bill. So these things are very near and dear to our heart. And these PSOs, VSOs, and actual employees, like our guy, Terry, he does a fabulous job. If we have a member that has a question about benefits, boom, gets them answered. And that's recent, though. That's very recent. We've been having to go to the VA or having to make phone calls. The phone calls are horrible because you're on and off hold, waiting for somebody to talk to you. And then you get this litany of exams that you go through all the hospitals around town. So it's very nice to have an expert. What else? Yes, sir.
When President Trump instituted the liberalization of access to benefits for veterans, has that improved over time? Has it proven to be effective?
Absolutely. The Patriot Act's what you're talking about. And that was, I referenced earlier, that was in 2019. Yes, because that's when they have these thousands of vets from the Gulf War syndrome, burn pits,
Yeah.
Vietnam people that were exposed to Agent Orange. All of those people were just kind of shuffled off because they had these horrendous medical disabilities, most of them COPD or cancer, and they weren't getting any medical care because they, one, didn't have the insurance for it, couldn't afford it. What this provides, what that Patriot Act provides, is medical service to those that are hurting from those poisons. Yes, sir.
I wondered if there was any provision for service members that got hepatitis C from those air guns that they used to use.
I've not heard of that, but I would
A lot
suspect.
of service members got hep C and
Yeah.
now they've got liver troubles, and trying to get the services to admit that they had anything to
Yeah.
do with it has been very difficult.
I wonder. I would, if you had a specific question, I would take that to Terry. But if you know somebody, I would suspect it is covered. PACT Act is pretty broad. And PACT Act, again, you just had to be in theater. It's not like you had to sit there watching IED explode. You just had to be in theater. And that's where a lot of the Agent Orange got a lot of people in Vietnam. And nobody would pay for their benefits because they couldn't show that they had it all over them. You know, they inhaled it and they got cancer. Any others? Yes, sir.
Pat, tell us about your history with your naval aviation
Oh,
and your United Airlines.
Delta. But-
Oh, did I swear?
Yeah, that's a bad word. No, just kidding. I was super fortunate, folks. My grandpa was in the Army, World War I, served honorably, went to France, came back, became a miner. My dad became a miner. I was born in Leadville. God bless World War II because it took my dad out of the mine. He went into the Navy, served on a battleship. Then he came back to Colorado for an officer program that was offered during World War II. Met my mom, that was the administrator for the school at CU. My dad's actually a CU buff on the football team back in the 40s, 44 and 43. So he served half the war in theater, half the war was in school because the school turns you into an officer. His dream was to be an aviator. The war ended, everything stood down. He married my mom. Aviation was out of the picture. Somehow it rubbed off on me. And since I was a small kid, we'd go to air shows and stuff. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I would love to do that. And so to get into the service academies, you have to interview with your national representative, senator or representative. And so I'm talking to my representative. I went to high school in Grand Junction. And he says, you can go to Air Force. It's easy to go to Air Force. No, sir. I want to go in the Navy because I want to land on a carrier. And he said, okay. So he gave me a nomination to the Academy. I got appointed to the Academy. I did my midshipman thing, went to flight school, and I'm a carrier aviator. So the smart little whippersnapper, his goals were accomplished, and it was just a pleasure to serve you folks. It was an absolute pleasure to be a naval aviator. And I'm blessed both of my sons are naval aviators. Both of my sons. My daughter is serving in public capacity as a public administrator for the county. She's been in the school districts for years, serving the public. Both sons served in the Navy. One son has since got out. The other son is serving proudly at the Weapons Test Center in California, test pilot. So our tradition of service is fantastic. I found out this summer that we actually have relatives that were in the Revolutionary War. So my wife is a big participant of Daughters of the American Revolution. So it just so happens we got through that, they came up with one of my relatives, Jonathan, happened to serve in the Revolution. And then we have others that served since then. But it's kind of fun. Somebody said Mayflower. Well, we didn't come out of Mayflower, but we came in the 1600s. So we've been here a while. And then the other half came from Ireland. So we got the Irish and the English, and it's so wonderful to be a Coloradan. It's so wonderful to be a veteran, and it's so wonderful to serve my fellow veterans. And I hope that you will too. Thank you.